Welcome, everybody. I wanted to talk about gratitude today. So, um, so not only is gratitude good medicine for this season, especially as we go into the holidays, um, but especially for this year, it's kind of been a beast of a year, right? And this is a practice that can help you balance. If you're dealing with root chakra imbalances, feeling anxiety, unstable, feeling ungrounded, especially I know a lot of people are this year. So just know that this is a practice that is great for any time, but especially relevant right now. Um, and I would say that, just checking some things, I would say that gratitude has really transformed my life. And it's a practice that I do every day, which I'm going to share with you. And it's really good, and we may think we're thankful, but sometimes we may have certain things where we talk, we use our words, and they're more not necessarily ungrateful, but they're limiting in what we can receive. So we're going to dive into some of these things. Um, why? It's not because you're bad or versus good, that sort of stuff. It's because just as being humans, we have this negativity bias in our brain. So it's there not because we're negative people. It's there because it is needed to survive. So survival is always that first foundational thing. Whether you're looking at the chakra system and the root chakra, or whether you're looking at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, sort of, your basic needs, your survivals, those are always the foundation. You have to feel safe and secure. So the negativity bias in our brains was created because, back in caveman days, and I mean, even, 200 to 500 years ago, and even now, but especially a long time ago, like we had to be aware of what was happening in our environment in case there was something we needed to attend to or protect ourselves from predators or that sort of stuff. So we're always hyper aware, which that's what that negativity bias is making sure that we are aware of what's going on for our survival. But as human beings, and this is different than the animal realm, we have the neocortex, which is the newer part of the brain. So we have the ability to be rational. So without getting into it too deep, we have like the more primal side of our brain, including the amygdala. And if you've ever heard of the amygdala hijack, I'll give you an example. If you've ever received an email and you were just instantly pissed off and you wanted to reply and be nasty, and but maybe you remembered that someone told you breathe or count to 10 or sleep on it before you reply. That's sort of an example of an amygdala hijack, and this happens in our daily lives, especially with email now and text, because these can be interpreted really loosely. So we want to, like, there's a trigger response, there's an immediate instinctive reaction that triggers us. But what can happen is if we doing our meditation practices, if we sleep on it, if we breathe, if we do yoga, those things, like we can calm the amygdala down and be like, you know what, that wasn't that big a deal. Maybe you reread the email, for example, and you're like, I totally misread it with my negativity bias or whatnot. Or maybe it still pissed you off, which is totally okay. And then you actually like are rational about it and give a more more rational response. And it may still have boundaries. It may still it pissed you off, but you're not working from this primal, like, triggered response. So that is the good thing, because research has now shown how a lot of practices like meditation, the physical practices of yoga, because of course meditation is part of the 8 limbs of yoga, but in mainstream it seems separate. But all of these things can help increase that rational side of your brain, so that that primal side of your brain, especially the amygdala, will not be in charge of your life. And so it's actually, there's environmental factors. So everything we consume, food, what we watch, who we hang out with, those will all filter in. And so if they're feeding that primal response, that negative response, you're always around people who are complaining, you're always around this, that's going to feed that. But if you can shift the environmental factors as well as your personal practices, I mean, we can't get rid of everybody, but then you can start to feed the rational response. So doing your personal practices, doing shifting maybe who you're hanging out with, shifting what you're watching on TV, those sort of things. So there is a way, because research has shown our brain, the term is neuroplasticity. So our brain is moldable and changeable. Once thought that it was just like the brain develops, it's mature at 25. So teenagers out there, like, it's still developing and, that sort of stuff, but actually can change. So that is the beauty of it. And a gratitude practice can do so much for you, just this practice alone. And when you're consciously taking note of what you're grateful for, it doesn't mean that you're like having this fake positivity all the time. But it means that when you get quiet or daily, like, you are grateful for certain things you have in your life. Yes, you may want more, and that's okay. Even if you're taught that's not okay, it is okay. But you're not just begging, you're also being grateful. So it can help improve your mental and physical health. And ultimately, what coming from a state of gratitude does, it aligns us with opening ourselves to receive more. So I'll say that again. Ultimately, what having a state of gratitude, because this is a practice that can become just who you are. A state of gratitude can open yourselves or ourselves up to receive more. And I make that statement twice, because it is important to know that sometimes we are calling in, we want these things, but it is actually us blocking ourselves. And I'll go into that. So one of the major energy blockages in the root chakra is lack. So you might have, and you may not even know this, so hopefully this podcast will bring that to light, or somebody might, and I'll share my story of realizing this. So feeling safe and secure, which is pretty much what the root chakra is all about, the goals of the balancing. Feeling safe and secure comes with changing that lack mindset. Okay, and so you're shifting your limiting beliefs, and I'm going to have a couple examples, and like I said, I'll share my story. So you might find yourself saying or thinking, and maybe say these out loud and practice both. But this is not how I wanted it. I didn't want this to happen this way. So instead of saying something like that, maybe things turn out perfectly. I embrace what is happening. And it might be hard at first to shift, but if you say these out loud, notice how they feel in your body, because words have power. So something might feel a little more icky, and then another phrase, it might feel more okay at first, and then it might feel lighter. So it's something to practice. Or maybe you've said, I can't have, whatever, fill in the blank. And you can say instead, I can have and create what I want. So I know I don't want to go into too many personal stories. I just want to share more of the lack mindset one. But I know I have felt these, and I've noticed these in myself. You think, oh, well, that person has that. I really want it, but I can't have it because of this. Well, actually, the fact is that you yourself are limiting yourself from having that because of your mindset. So, another thing that you might have thought or said to yourself or said out loud, I am often frustrated with not having enough. There's not enough. I don't know. I had not enough time, not enough money, yada, yada, yada. Again, I've totally said this, believed this before. So instead, maybe you could change it to, I accept, embrace, and have gratitude for what I have, what I do have. Because when you're shifting into that more positive state, you're actually then shifting this energy of the universe to attract more of what you want, because you're starting to open yourself up to receive. Okay? So that said, I'd share my story. I noticed this when I had an old boyfriend who I loved dearly, and we're still friends. And when I really started like learning, oh, I associate with a lot of people with a lack mindset too. And then of course, so that just feeds mine. And I really had to kind of get out of it. And I remember, well, I don't make enough money. Oh, I only do this. And it's like, well, then get a new job. If you want to travel, do this and blah, 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 because that's how I am. But it was just always this, well, but I can't do that because of this, or I can't, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was around that day in and day out. And maybe you find that too. So it takes time to shift, but you can shift these. And it may start with just changing your words. So if you catch yourself, don't beat yourself up. This has been ingrained in you for a long time. Just how can you rephrase it differently to cultivate gratitude instead? So that's one practice. Then, as I mentioned, on a daily practice, I actually, I like do gratefulness practices every day. So, well, I wouldn't say like there were certain rituals or anything. When I pray at night, that is when I do my gratitude practice. So you can acknowledge something every day that you're grateful for. Figure out what works for you. Maybe you wake up in the morning, you can get your tea or coffee or whatever, and write down, like have a journal that you love. Buy a beautiful journal that you really love to use. Buy a pen that you really love to use, and write something down every day that you're grateful for. I know a lot of people at the beginning of the year, or the winter solstice, will do gratitude jars and write something at the end of the day that they were grateful for that day, and put it in the jar and maybe read it at the end of the year. You can certainly do something like that. Me personally, I pray every night. And when I pray, and I've shared this before, I've reconciled my more spiritual side with my Catholic upbringing, because that works for me. So I just tell people, do what works for you and what makes sense for you. So I pray to God, my spirit guides, and my ancestors. And so my spirit guides might include the animal messengers that I see, angels, anything. And I pray to the ones who are well and loving and the highest truth and compassion. But I do that, and the first thing I do is something I'm grateful for. The first thing I say. Most every night, I'm grateful for making me a mother and for my daughter. So that's most of the time the first thing I start out with, because that's relevant in my life right now. Sometimes there might be something specific in the day, like that I'm thankful for, and I'll mention that as well. But I always start that out, and usually close out as well. And then I might ask for guidance or help, because I learned how to ask for help too, and ask for help in something, in my life. and I ask to keep my daughter safe and healthy and that sort of stuff. But it's something I do every day. So whether you decide you want to include it in a prayer, a meditation, a journaling exercise, that sort of stuff, trying to make it a daily habit. That in itself will help you shift those limiting beliefs, okay? Then, Anjali Mudra, which you've probably seen, it's like prayer hands. We'll do it in yoga when we say, oh, namaste, and of course in India, that's a greeting. And this is actually hand gestures. When you're putting the hands together in different ways, it activates different energetic points, because there's acupressure points or marma points in Ayurvedic medicine all throughout the hands and body. But each finger, whether it's in Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, is related to different organs and stuff like that. So mudras can be powerful. This one, most all of you are familiar with, even if you've never done yoga. It's just putting your hands together in prayer. So this is, of course, the gesture of gratitude. And you want to make sure you really press, not crazy, but you press the fingertips and the sides of the hand and the bottom of the palm of the hand together. So Anjali Mudra, prayer hands, whatever you'd like to call it. But it's a gesture of offering, and it stimulates the different areas of the brain and helps make us feel at peace. So it's something you can do, obviously, if you're praying, if you're meditating, something we do a lot in yoga class at the beginning and end. So just know, and we're going to actually, I should have mentioned this at the beginning, at the end of this, I'm going to guide you through a short meditation, and you're welcome to stay for it. You're welcome to come back to this and listen to it on your own and just fast forward through the other stuff. But just know that gratitude's a practice, just like the physical movements of yoga, any exercise, just like meditation. So you just start somewhere, and then you start doing one thing, the next day you do another thing, and then suddenly it like snowballs. And then you have this state of gratitude that you exist in, and you're finally open to receive more. So before I get into the meditation, always, if you ever have questions, feel free to DM me or jump into the Facebook group and ask, the Wild Wisdom Collective on Facebook. And then, let's see, we'll get in here. And if meditation is new for you and you really want to learn more, I will just say that I do have a meditation course. It's called Awaken Your Wild Wisdom. And because it's the holidays and stuff, it will be going on sale. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But just DM me with questions or come in the Facebook group as well. So if you are ready to practice, or if you're listening to this on your own later, I would just suggest that you find a place where, of course, it's ultimately going to be nice to lay down. But if you can just be seated, you can also do this seated, wherever you're at. So just take a deep breath. And with your eyes open or gently closed, just soften your eyes. Welcome the environment and sounds around you. The touch of air on your skin. Sensations where your body touches the surface that's supporting it. And notice where your breath is in your body. Maybe notice the rise and fall of your chest or belly, or both. Maybe you notice the expansion of your ribs with every breath, or the air coming in and out of your nose. Just begin to notice the sensations present throughout your body. And then welcome into your body feelings of gratitude and joy. If joy's not accessible, just feel gratitude. What can you be grateful for right now? Where do you feel this in your body? Is it in your heart? In the heart space in the center of the chest? Is it somewhere else? Perhaps maybe you feel gratitude for a friend, an animal in your life. Maybe you're grateful for where you live, for something someone has done for you. Maybe it's as simple as you're grateful for having food, shelter, and clothing right now. Or maybe you're grateful for simply being alive and waking up to experience another day. As you start to make the decision and bringing in that gratefulness, how does that feel in your body? Notice the feelings and allow these feelings of gratitude and even joy to spread throughout your body. So maybe their feeling comes into that heart center and starts there, and can you allow the feelings of gratitude to expand and radiate through your body to your limbs? Maybe turn up the corners of your mouth and feel an inner smile in your whole body. Or this heart space grows warm and expands to your limbs, down your torso and down your legs. Allow feelings of gratitude to expand and radiate throughout your body. And as these feelings of gratitude expand and radiate throughout your body, allow it to expand and radiate even further out into the space around you. Notice if any opposite feelings arise, such as disappointment, grief, or unhappiness. And if they arise, just welcome them. Notice where they are in your body. Notice the feelings, the sensations. And then return back to welcoming the feelings of gratitude and joy. And allow gratitude to saturate every part of your body that feels or has felt unhappy, disappointed, is grieving, or sad. And when it feels right, let go of all the opposite feelings, allowing yourself to feel only gratitude and joy for no reason at all. Just being and feeling grateful and joyous. And when you're ready, continue to feel the expansion of gratitude and joy, these feelings saturating your body. And slowly open and close your eyes several times and affirm to yourself an intention to feel gratitude and joy throughout your day. And as you go about your activities, you'll know that gratitude and joy are always with you, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. whomever you're with, helping you to feel connected to yourself and the world around you. And you can practice resting in these feelings of gratitude and joy during your meditations, whenever you're falling asleep or waking up, and as you go about your day. Small, regular, daily doses of gratitude and joy goes a long way toward enhancing your overall health and well-being. Shifting your mindset from lack to abundance by shifting your words and what you say and what you think eventually. Acknowledging what you're grateful for every day through journaling, through meditation, through prayer, and using your hands together in Anjali Mudra. Whether you're praying or it's a gesture before a practice, all of these things can help you cultivate gratitude in your life.